G'day, amateur Austrians. Today, you'll own nothing and be happy. Central bank digital currencies, everyone's telling me how they're going to, the system's going to change and all this sort of stuff, and then we're going on to a digital central bank digital currency and blah, blah, blah. And what do I do with silver, when the service station won't take my silver? If I've saved some silver up instead of having digits in the bank, how do I trade in that silver if the guy down the road won't take the silver? Okay? Well, this own nothing and be happy. This doctrine is Karl Marx rubbish. That is what the Soviet Union was built on. And what really happens is a bunch of oligarchs own the joint and everyone else is basically a slave. And the production of the country, if controlled by a central planner, drops to shit, drops to next to nothing. And there's nothing on the shelves because there's a lack of production, because they're guaranteed a certain amount of currency for every little bit of labour that's put out or whatever. They order things by the ton, where you're going to produce that many tons of cars next year. You get some central planner saying, I decree this is how it shall be. And it doesn't work out that way. And everyone just lies to everyone. They go, yes, we'll do that. And then they just, fudge the figures and who knows what, just to make it look like they did what they said they were going to do and reach the quota. And it just, with a lack of a free market, and a free market springs up underneath that, and they call it a black market. So you can still buy a pair of Levi's. You just got to go and see someone, like doing a drug deal or some other, activity that normally you couldn't do in front of the authorities today. You end up that everything's illegal. Goods and services are illegal. So you have to go and see someone to get what you need. You can still get it from overseas. People overseas with free markets are producing stuff. So you can get a pair of Levi's in the Soviet Union, but you've got to go and see someone. You might have to wait for it for a while. But the local economy is producing nothing much. Nothing much. The output of the whole Soviet Union was not even that of Los Angeles, apparently. So you'll own nothing and be happy? It can't happen. It's written by an idiot. It's just written by some university graduate fool that thinks that modern monetary theory works. It doesn't work. Because you can't eat money, you can't sleep in money. You just can't. Money's not what you need. It's the stuff that matters. And at the moment, yes, you can say that money buys the stuff, but at the moment it's not, is it? We got shortages. And why are the shortages occurring? Because central planners intervened in the free market and caused such a distortion that factories closed down that had taken 20 years to get to that production level. It's like a reactor. You get it to critical level where it's running, like when your car's doing 100 Ks an hour in top gear. It's just ticking over nicely. You get that production value of a company when it's sort of operating at that level. And if you arbitrarily slow it down somehow or shut it down for a period of time, you destroy that momentum. And you get shortages all over the place. And then if you create a load of currency, a load of digital currency that's already happening, it's already happened, guys, and pump it into the welfare system and spread it out amongst people, or pump it into the economy, and people go and buy, outstrip the new car market and go and buy expensive second-hand cars and more ice cream than they normally would, or go on more holidays or whatever it is. You create inflation, which devalues every other unit of account in the system. So it's a no-win situation. You cause shortages. So this you'll own nothing and be happy rubbish, it won't work. It just can't work. Because I only accept dollars so I can use them to buy other goods and services with. The dollars themselves are just the medium of exchange. And as we can see, people are losing faith in the dollar. The Russians and the Iranians and the Chinese and all that, they know the game's up. They've already changed over to a gold oil system and a gold gas system. The world just hasn't woken up to it properly yet. We've come off the fiat currency US dollar. We're off it now. The world can trade in whatever it wants to. And the US no longer has the ability, it thinks it does, to go and beat a country up that won't use its dollar anymore. It's lost its power over the world. But it's like the emperor with no clothes. It still thinks it's got clothes on at the moment. So whatever they implement on the ground level, who knows how that'll... Maybe they'll do what India did recently and say, everyone bank their notes into the bank and we'll issue you with a new note or something like that. And in the Western countries, they'll tell you to bank your notes and they'll issue you with a new digital currency. Well, that'll just be the same thing as the dollar. If they can print more of it, it's the same as the dollar. Most of the dollars are digital now. So people aren't going to want to use it down at the markets. But what I'm saying is the market will decide what currency has worth. And it's about high time that the market decided that sound currency, gold and silver, is money again, and that any currency issued on top of that needs to be a 100% claim check on that real money. But what do you do when you need digits to fill up with fuel, and you've got your bank account's been frozen, and you can't use, or it's just not there anymore, or whatever? You've lost your life savings, but you had some silver. Like the servo will probably take some silver, or there'll be another currency. You'll be able to sell that silver for digital currency and buy yourself some currency to fill up the car with. Who knows? But in the meantime, you didn't lose your purchasing power if you held on to your silver. No different to if you had a big hunk of iron ore in the backyard that never rusted. You could always sell it into the market and replace it exchange it for another good or service. So don't worry about who's going to accept that the guy at the servo won't take silver. The market will take silver. Someone will take silver because it's real. The same as market that will always take real estate. And it will always take a pumpkin. Because it's something real that someone wants. It's a commodity. Money is a commodity. Real money is a commodity. It's no different to a barrel of oil. Except the money the market chose was much more convenient than a barrel of oil. You don't have to lug around a barrel of oil if you've got an ounce of silver in your pocket, or a 10 ton of gold on depository somewhere, and you've got a bunch of digital tokens on the blockchain that say that equally amount. You know, that's what the Kinesis does. KAU and KAG. There's your digital currency already. You can't spend it in the shops at the moment. You can only save in it, but at least it's a promissory note for something in a vault that's audited for a precious metal. So it's a step into the real money system that the way it used to be, except for it's digitized. And I always say, diversify, have some digital gold and silver, or some real gold and silver with a digital receipt for it. Have some dollars in the bank in digital form. Have some cash. Have some plastic $50 Australian notes. And have a physical, have some real estate. Own some commodities. Own something real, that's fine. And own some silver. And own some gold. So it doesn't matter what happens. If we stay and we change to a CBDC, then we'll be able to sell the same as we can go into the market today and sell an ounce of silver or a kilo of silver and swap it for a digital currency. You can do that right now. Take a photo of it, put it on Gumtree, whack. Just like selling a car, you can sell a kilo of silver for whatever digits going on the day. You're going to be able to do that. You may be able to barter with it and trade straight with it. You may be able to say, well, here's an ounce of silver for my tank of fuel, and they'll take that. That may be the case, but it may be the case where I've got a bank full of silver and I've got a digital currency that your service station will accept, and I'll transfer a measurement of a weight of gold or silver in digital currency into yours, or I'll give you a CBDC, the local government one, because I had to sell my silver for that. But don't worry about any of that. People think that, oh, we're going to a gold and silver standard where and how am I going to how am I going to buy things with silver? No one takes it. Maybe if we get a period of no internet and no power, you'd be quite surprised what people will take. You know? You'd be quite surprised. If you'll need to swap commodity for commodity. You'll need to swap pumpkins for petrol. You will. If we are in a situation where all the banks are closed, or they've got digits on there, or the internet's down and the power's down, and only 10% of us have got solar panels at home, and the rest of us are going, hey, we can't use that one. It could be anything, but you will be able to trade, and you'll be able to trade one commodity for another. And if you need to trade fuel for silver, or silver for fuel, or silver for food, or silver for a piece of paper, you'll find a way to trade. So don't worry about and what the dollar price of silver may be today, or gold. Don't worry about how many dollars you may get for that silver or gold in the future, because it's the dollars that you don't want now. It's the dollars that you want to not use anymore. So don't worry about it. Don't worry if gold is $2,800 Australian today, and it was 2,600 yesterday. That just means the dollar's losing its value quicker than you wanted it to. But if you want to save yourself, if you want to save your financial future, you're going to have to own a commodity. You may own a farm. You may own no gold at all, no silver at all, but you might have a productive farm that can operate, without relying on the fuel supply. Or your farm may be something you can trade. I don't know, but you own a commodity. You own something real, and that's all you need to do. Is have real stuff. And don't hold your wealth digitally if you don't trust the digit. If it's not backed by anything, don't hold it in there. And as much as this World Economic Forum and all these central planner communist idiots think that they can force the world onto their system and have a one world government and a new world order and all this rubbish, they'll get a certain way down the track and it will gotta collapse. Because history says it'll collapse. And I think the collapse is already happening. I think they've already got peak government, peak world, all these world bodies and all this rubbish. Because when you deliver everyone from the middle class into poor, and the production of a country like Venezuela dropped 90%, you can't have very many rich people. Even the rich people get hungry. If there's no production, and that's what happened to the Soviet Union, and that's what happened throughout history. We just keep repeating it over and over again. So let it go. Let it go. Let them have their fiddle around with the system and see how good it ends up for everybody and for themselves. Because there ain't much you can do about it anyway. But be prepared and own a commodity. Don't worry about their central bank digital currency, because the French tried it and printed another one, and here's the new franc. It's been tried in history. Every currency collapse has had a new currency come along. Well, we're going to use that now. Oh yeah, and it's just, instead of taking 100 years to collapse, it takes about 6 months. And people just have to work their way around it. If you want to destroy the free market and make everyone poor as church mice, you'll get what you're given. It won't turn out very well. People will find a way around it. So don't worry about the price of silver on the screen today, the futures price, the paper price. The digital price of silver means nothing. Means absolutely nothing. I think someone told me it's around about $35 today. Well, that's where I last saw it probably. And it's about $45 to get it delivered to you. That's the real price. And those dollars, you just can't wait to swap them for a commodity. That's what this inflation feeds on itself. The more stimulus they pump down through the system and the more inflation they create, the more people want to buy stuff with it. They don't want the currency because they know tomorrow it'll cost more currency. So they get rid of the currency and buy a commodity with it, whether it be a car or a shopping trolley or a pram or a football. They buy it today because they don't trust what that currency will buy tomorrow. And getting issued with a central bank digital currency that's not backed by gold, that's not an absolute measurement of a weight of gold or silver, it's just another fiat currency that's got to fail, and it'll just fail in a big hurry, that's all. By the time you get used to it, it'll be disintegrating itself. The free market will just work its way around it. That's my thoughts on the matter. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you have a good weekend.